Hello guys, and welcome to a new Wargame video today by me, Vulcan and Val.
Hello.
Today we have the second game of a best of three between ANZ and Crna Buksna, and this is for the final of the 3v3 Reddit tournament. ANZ already been declared the winners of the tournament, but this being a friendly, we are going to play on and see if they deserve that victory that was given to them. So this being the second game, ANZ already won the first game, so it'll be interesting to see what they do. But let's just see what sides they're on. So on the blue side, we have Faust, Cheer Up, and Nandamanite, and over on the red side, Razman, Firestarter, and Anoka. So what sort of decks are we looking at today, Val?
Quite similar to last game, although a few changes. So we have Faust playing a full NATO deck. We have Cherup playing a US deck. Obviously, I think for that, the M1A2 and some of the super units, if you want to call them that, probably going to go to the middle area with that deck. And we have Nande playing the same deck, the NATO motorized deck. And on the other side, we have Razman playing a Eastern Bloc mechanized, which I believe is the same as last time. Firestarter playing a Sovco armored. And Anoka playing a Eastern Bloc armored called Raznoob Abuse. I'm sure there's a story behind that deck name, but we probably won't go into it now. So take a look at the deployments.
Yeah, it's actually quite interesting to see like the changes in the decks. We see Anoka changing from Red Dragon motorized to Eastern Bloc, and that's quite a big change actually, because the playstyle of those two decks is pretty different. But over on the blue side, I'm not surprised to see a US deck. Honestly, some of the tanks that the US have access to, like the prototype M1A2 and so on, are just like so powerful. And on a map that's very reliant on tanks in the center, and also, well, just generally all over the map, having more heavy armor in this game is definitely going to be something that we see.
Yeah, definitely. I feel again that's the reason why Anoka changed out of that Red Dragon's motorized to an Eastern Bloc armored, because you need that heavy armored punch to win Foxtrot. It's really, really pivotal. And you know the other sectors as well, because Charlie and Golf, generally you don't see that much contention there because they can be quite difficult to take. So you see most of the action down at the big town in Echo in India. That's where I think we'll probably see Nandamanai's, yep, he is posturing over there, Nandamanai's motorized deck going down there, with Faust going up to secure Golf and helping in the middle, I imagine. And they'll be the same, yeah, with Razman's mechanized deck, we'll be going to the town on the bottom as well.
Yeah, so it's likely to see Cheer Up probably joining up with Faust in the middle after Faust sort of captures the top with his small amount of infantry up there. And then we've seen Nandamanai taking the town. It's interesting to see that two players are probably going to be focusing sort of the middle rather than the bottom side. I don't know if Faust has anything down the bottom with Nandamanai, but honestly it looks like he's on his own at the moment. And that could be a bit of a mistake. But over on the red side, same thing happening. Razman going to be taking that alone while Firestarter goes to the middle. And Razman going to be pushing some stuff to the top side. Anoka, he's also going to be pushing in the middle. So yeah, it looks like we're going to have a double clash in the center. Obviously a lot of those units could still come down to the bottom side of the map because the roads do tend to lead that way.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is the kind of sort of map meta, if you will, for a 3v3. You don't often see a push into Golf or Charlie because it is quite risky. So what usually happens is people will defend Charlie and Golf with a kind of relatively small amount of infantry and stuff like that, and then they'll come down and help their teammates in Foxtrot. I'm not entirely sure if that's what I really like the most, because I do like it if you try and make a more risky play for a 2-point sector, because obviously if you take an enemy 2-pointer, you're going to be up for 4 points over what the enemy would have. So it can carry a lot of risk, but I think taking a 2-pointer in this case does give you a lot of reward. But they're just playing a bit of a safer start, I think.
Yeah, it's interesting some of these units that they are using. Faust actually bringing out the M41 DK1, which is a light recon tank. Not often you really see those. or at least I haven't really seen them being used much.
Oh god, I've seen them everywhere.
I guess the main reason they're used is obviously they're cost effective. They're very, very cheap. They do have those good optics. So in situations where you can spread out the fire support, they can be extremely useful, I presume.
Well, it's not just that. You see, the problem with the DK1 isn't that you see lots of them, it's that you don't see them, because they're very good at firing from cover without being discovered. As many players have found to their dismay. It's the same with the Type 63. The Firestar's bringing the top side as well, so really painful to deal with, unfortunately.
Oh, well, that's interesting. I actually didn't know that, so thanks for that information, Val. The K1 there from Faust on the top side, just some extra armor. We've got a little bit of a air presence at the start from Nandim and I on the blue side. Faust also bringing a cannon, but 2 Celtics from Nandim and I assume they are going to try and stop any air pushes towards Gulf, which could be a pretty convincing cheese strat. But obviously not going to happen, as both teams tend to go for the more standard meta starts. And honestly, maybe I would have liked to have seen something a bit different, a bit more like sort of cheesy out of the red side, considering they're already a game down, and maybe mixing it up a bit would have made a big difference, like pulling out like an Eastern Bloc airborne deck or something stupid like that, and just going all in like a Barry Dillon. But
the Barry Dillon effect.
Yeah, exactly. But it looks like Nandim and I already had that covered, and Cheer Up helping there. Also Faust. Wow.
Speaking of Nandemonai, though, I mentioned before that, you know, I didn't really expect to see an attack into Charlie, but we see Faust and Nandemonai moving up these Gazelle Celtics and cannons in this DAP as well. This is a three-man effort in this top side.
Oh, look at that UAZ. It's on its own, and the DAP with its twin miniguns. If that gets on target, that can do some serious damage. The cannon, though, going to do the job first. And already a command unit lost that would sit in the 2-point sector of Charlie. That is massive. That's going to give the blue side a huge conquest lead at the start of this game. Already Nandim and I's infantry finding their way into this town without any contention other than these flat MGs. And honestly, if he moves up his infantry quick enough, he will be able to catch out a lot of these moat shooting in the open. It's kind of struggling to micro them all forwards at the moment. Maybe he's just a bit wary of where the enemy team's infantry are, but he's definitely managed to get his infantry in there a lot quicker, and that's given him a much greater advantage in this bot side. Fighting Falcon coming in with the 2 1,000 kilogram bombs onto the Moat Shooting squads. It's going to land the bombs, but unfortunately the plane was lost, so not necessarily worth it. In this top side, Faust making a lot of ground.
Yeah, he is making a lot of ground. He's got some reinforcements coming up as well in the form of this K1 and some CSs and various other bits and bobs. We do see an overwhelming amount of force from the red team in mid, though, in Foxtrot. I do think that the Cherub will end up losing this sector, to be honest, because he has moved his HC Abrams that he spawned with. He's placed that down in India and Echo. So it's just literally just one M1A2 and some support units that are trying to hold off this enormous armoured push.
Yeah, but again, there's similar things happening to what happened last game. The blue side's focusing on the flanks and the red team's focusing on the middle, and it just means that the red side's going to get flanked eventually. Like these M1 like Abrams and so on that are sitting up on the ridge at India can always fire down onto the middle at Foxtrot. Same at the top side, the ridge going up. That is why it's called Bloody Ridge. It's because these ridges do really play a part in this map, and if you're in the centre with your flanks undefended, you're going to suffer massively. That RBS 56 squad sitting on the top side there in between the two sectors, that can fire it down to the side of tanks and so on and pick off units. Unfortunately it does die, but that's just like a point that I wanted to make, was that like ATGM squads can just sit on the side and snipe your units all day long.
That's definitely true, although we did just see a Jaguar come in from the blue team and take out, I believe it took out a Moderna and then killed a Promet up in Charlie, so that was a very effective strike from the British anti-tank plane. It's actually a really, really good plane for the price. I'd say it's definitely not quite as good as a MiG-27, but it's definitely probably the blue team's kind of best equivalent, if you will?
In this bottom side, things just falling apart entirely. Echo is just being overwhelmed. Like, I don't know what's gone on here to make it such a disparity. Razman is a very good player, but it looks like he's just been caught off guard. Maybe by the fact that Cheer Up sort of reinforced with this Abrams and some other units on this bottom side. And but Nandim and I just seriously playing well in this best of three. Managing to get to the town quicker and then picking up all the Moat Shoots and squads very convincingly. It looks like Faust's push into the top side has fallen apart as the Moat Shoots and the 4 BMP-1Ps or BMP-1 SP-1s managed to kill off the CSs and stop the fire support there that was ripping apart the Moat Shoots and squads. So they managed to get Charlie back, but the +1 lead still on the side, I was going to say of ANZ, but it's not. It's over on the side of Crna Buksna, which is interesting.
It is indeed. Well, there is a CV in golf, so I'll go back there. But I think the blue team have to be really careful here. There is hardly anything in the hotel. I think they need to reinforce this town, which they are doing with some Eric squads. But still, that's it is a really dangerous position to be in, because just having that one. Actually, as I say that, there's another M1A2 coming up, so maybe it's not too bad, especially considering they hold Echo.
I still think that Firestarter's struggling with this whole fog of war thing. He's really not had the confidence to keep pushing in these games, and it's really like affecting, how well they're doing. Like, honestly, if after they destroyed all of the units in Foxtrot, they just pushed through, Hotel would already be under their control, and that would have put so much pressure on India and Gulf, meaning that this push on the bottom side from Nandim and I would be cut off completely. And they could very easily, surround that and kill off the units, like slowly and surely, So I think there was plenty of opportunity in the centre there to make a move. But now all they've done is given Nandim and I really good positioning on this bottom side. There's not much of a chance they're going to get Echo back now, especially considering there's a ridge up from Delta to Echo, and this pass from Alpha to Echo is very hard to attack through because it's a big funnel, and will get a lot of your units killed just from the landscape.
It really will. I mean, I think I think this is something that we see really, really often as while this Fighting Falcon comes in. See if that can actually get anything down. Oh, that's going to land right on top of all that infantry.
Oh, that was a juicy set of kills there. The RBS 56 squad timing its HGM kill in there as well, and that's a lot of infantry gone. But yeah, continue what you were saying.
Well, I was going to say that I think this is a problem that a lot of people have when they play Wargame. Like, people look at the map and they think Foxtrot is a sector we have to fight over. The middle between Echo and India is a sector, and then Gulf and Charlie. And what they feel is, like, once they've taken that sector, they just sit there. Firestar and Anoka took Foxtrot, and they've just sat there. They could have, like, with the amount of infantry they brought in to reinforce Charlie at the top, they could have coordinated and tried to push into Gulf with, at the same time attacking into Hotel. And you know what? I think they would have succeeded if they'd done that. They would have had a really, really good time. But instead, they've just, I mean, they are finally pushing forward now. But this Jaguar DR1A coming in to hopefully kill off Moderna.
Yeah, it's just too late. Like, the push, this is what they should have done straight away. Obviously, their reinforcements have only just arrived, but I mean, they could have still pushed with what they had. And now there's like a really sort of sad attack into Echo. Moat shoots in and just dying left, right, and centre. Moat Strelky, all of the APCs just dying, and yeah, it's just not much they're going to be able to do. Like pushing into Echo, and I sort of feel as though they should just completely neglect it and push their resources elsewhere, like into the centre maybe. They are going to need some stuff in Delta though to defend that.
Just look at how uncoordinated that was though. Firestar has a T90S on the left side of Foxtrot. He's got these two tanks up in the top side. And he's only just bringing a T90S up now as Faust unfortunately drops from the game. I imagine that's his Chinese overlords cutting off his internet. But Anoka's tried to make something happen in the bottom side of Hotel, but he's just gone in alone, because Firestarter just hasn't been there in this Jaguar GR1A. Oh, narrowly not killing a Twardy there.
Yeah, and this area 30 going down as well before
the longbow
attacks anything. But yeah, that longbow, oh, that is nasty. Managing to pick off that Twardy, but the Tunguska M actually going to get the reply kill. So to be fair, that's not actually that worth it, because the longbow is a very expensive helicopter.
It really is, and you get a very, very small amount of them. But we do see some infantry coming from Razman into the hotel sector again. But I mean, it's so uncoordinated. These tanks from Firestar they're not up on the front line to support this attack, and so those motor shoots are just wasted. There's not really much they can do, because the blue team will just reinforce the town, kill the motor shoots, and those tanks are still on the left side of Foxtrot. Yeah,
that is so true. There's two T-90Ss that could easily be firing onto this town now, maybe killing off those Eric squads just a little bit quicker, which would help out greatly. One of the T-90Ss is finally firing, but the one on the left is still sitting there doing nothing. The T-64 BV-1 could also be pushing forwards at this point. A lot less value than the T-90S, could prove to be like a target for a Jaguar, in which case you could shoot that down and then continue pushing with the T-90Ss. You kind of need to bait those aircraft in, because they are eventually going to come out. So yeah, these motor shoots in though slowly making their way towards this M1A2 Abrams. It'll be interesting to see if Cheer Up will let that happen, but at the moment those motor shoots are slowly being cut down.
Well, Nandemanois are coming in with these XA-186 NOs, and I believe they'll probably have Gaverman or Gavelman. I think it's Gavelman. I'm going to say that.
Yeah, the Lynx AH7.
I look away for 1 second, and I look back, and there's no motor shoots anymore.
The Lynx AH7 had their number, and helped with that M1A2 there, which is now on half health. It did take a lot of damage from those AT weapons, but because they aren't kinetic rounds, they were only doing 1 damage to the front armor of the Abrams. That Jaguar GR1A at the bottom side here almost took out the T-80UM, but this does go down to the Tor of Razman. But again, the Valley of Death. Razman trying to push forward some motor shoots, and they're just getting completely annihilated by the Abrams, and there's not much chance that they're going to go anywhere anytime soon. A +2 lead though for ANZ still, even though the centre is held by the red team. And I don't know, honestly, it's not looking good. This position in the bottom side here from Nandamanai is just so strong. Nandamanai is making the right decision of not continuing to push, of course, because it's going to be futile going through that Valley of Death. But yeah, he's just letting the units come, and he's killing them off very easily at the moment.
So have a look down in this bot side, where you can see this DK1 firing, and those BMP ones can't see it. This is what I was talking about. This is the DK of death right here. Although it is quite shaken, it did have a tussle earlier. But you know what you said is exactly true. If they want to try and retake Echo, they need to coordinate an attack from Delta as well. But it just the entire Crna Buksna, they seem so uncoordinated in both of these games. There just really hasn't been great team play, I guess. That's how I describe it.
Yeah, well, it's to be expected, you know. Obviously, Dirty D dropping out of the team does make it much harder for them to be as coordinated as they once were. Anoka filling in just for this best of 3, you know, he hasn't played with Razman and Firestarter very often, but still, between Razman and Firestarter, they play together all the time. So it's a shame not to see them like work together to try and make some ground, because they do work well together. They probably a very good 2v2 team. But ANZ here, Faust, Cheer Up and Nandamanai seriously just taking the fight to the red side, and Nandamanai really just made a superb play in this bottom side. And I'm saying it as though the game's already over, but it sort of feels that way. There is just so much pressure from the blue side at the moment, and I feel like this game's just being dragged out due to the fact that the red side don't want to concede defeat just yet, because they still feel like they have a little bit of hope. There looks like there's going to be some sort of attack into the top side of Echo, but honestly, I can't see it doing very well. Those MiGs going down very easily. Well, one of them has so far. The second one might get away with that bombing strike, although the trap rapier FSA is going to miss that missile. Yeah, so here comes the napalm strike, and I'm pretty sure once these BMP2s come up, they're going to start the attack. Oh,
They're definitely going to start the attack. There's Deagle coming in. I think that's going to go right onto those infantry squads as well.
yeah, looks like they already spotted the push coming, and that's a lot of infantry dead, and that makes that smoke completely redundant because there's nothing to push through it. That is hilarious. So that Deagle did go down, did get shot down, but definitely did the job of stopping that push. And now these moat shoots, and oh my lord, they are already panicked as they come over the ridge there. And their APC is destroyed. This napalm's doing quite a good job of blocking the line of sight of some of these units, but I can't help but feel that this is just going to get completely destroyed. Although, with the combined push from the Valley of Death, as I'm going to continue to call it.
The walk through the shadow of the Valley of Death.
Yeah, it might work, but again, Nighthawk.
Oh!
And there goes the T80UM.
Takes it out.
So, I don't know how they're going to get away with this. The M3A2 Bradley also going to pick off the T80. The moat shoots are now being picked off in the open by the DK1 and the M8 Panzerbill. Only the infantry in the top side of Echo now that's really a threat, and the MiG's going to go down to the Fighting Falcon.
This is a good strike though. That's going to land right on that Bradley.
It will, but at the same time, the Fighting Falcon did just absolutely wreck the majority of the moat shoots and pushing in from that top side. So it's the push is just gone. It didn't last very long, and it never was going to, especially after that preemptive Deagle strike. That was very, very nice.
No, I think this game's over now. Just look at the defenses inside of Hotel and inside of Echo as well. It's, you know, with this amount of infantry in the town that Nandamanai and Cherub have put here. Actually, just Nandamanai, I think. Oh no, Cherub has some Delta Force there, but you know, with the amount of troops up in Hotel now, this is nigh impossible to push through for the red team in Foxtrot. And coming up over this ridge into the Echo India area is really risky because, you know, we've got... Well, basically they have no idea what's here, and they're going to run into Fusilier 90s, they're going to run into RBS 56 squads, they're going to run into tanks side-shotting them. It's just an absolute nightmare position to be in.
Yeah, just like pushing up onto that ground. Like, I actually just if I quickly switch to like the red team's perspective, they can't see anything right now, like at all, and they don't know what they're going to go up against. Obviously, we have the beauty of being able to see every unit on the map from both sides, but when you don't know what you're rolling into, well, you're just going to be losing all of these units so easily. The T80 there trying to push up is just going to get wrecked, and is forced to retreat back down the hill again. And now we have like Delta Force moving into this town from Cheer Up. Yeah, those are crazy, and these V150s are going to go down the hill to find out what's there, and we might see another airstrike or something after they've revealed some of those units. But honestly, the map's completely stagnated. There's no more pushes through the Valley of Death. They're not going to push from Delta to Echo anytime soon because they just don't have enough units, and it's going to take a little while for them to reinforce. And meanwhile, they've still got the +1 bleed, like ANZ still got that +1 lead over Crna Buksna. So 346 points and counting. Doesn't look like the red team really has much room to maneuver at the moment on this map.
I think if I was the red team, what I would try and do, because at this kind of point in time, you know that ANZ, they're most likely not going to attack. They put so much effort into putting defences in Hotel and in an Echo. They don't even need to attack, they're getting the +1 bleed. I think what might be the only saving possibility for the red team here might be to pull back some of the units in Foxtrot. Because you see like the T90S on the left and some of the tanks in the forest closest to Hotel. You could reverse those without them being in sight of the enemy's recon. And then if you pulled them up onto the top side, you could try and attack Gulf, because that's the only place I think you're actually going to make any ground on this map right now. And even then, that's still not, still not certified that you're going to actually do that.
Seria 30 came in, completely missed everything. The motor shoots and tried to push into Echo and just got absolutely annihilated again. All of their APCs being blown up around them just annihilated the morale of those motor shoots in, and those Panzerbills, very good fire support unit, going to be able to help wreck those motor shoots in, and the Fusilier 90s there as well. In their defensive positions, going to be doing a lot of work. The M1IP Abrams, another good choice of unit from Cheer Up. Very good close-up defensively, and are often used to push through forests with infantry as fire support. So now it looks like they're going to try again from the Valley of Death, BMP-1 SP1s, with more motor shoots coming in. Firestarter trying to help Anoka with his T-64 BV-1. But honestly, that's been spotted, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a Fighting Falcon or something come in to try and prevent that, although they might not even need that kind of air support because they have so much on the ground right now.
Oh, this BU is in bad ground. Oh, and it gets sideshot by those Fusilier 90s. Now that's exactly what I was talking about before. When you try and come up onto this ridge as a tank, the forests are just set up in such a way that you're going to end up probably getting sideshotted by an infantry unit. It's really, really dangerous.
Yeah, and there's no way that the red side can confidently set up like a elaborate push, because it will get spotted, because the blue side have the high ground at the moment, and there's nothing they can do about it. The only thing that I can think they might be able to get away with is maybe like some sort of helicopter air push around the bottom side, just something crazy. Like honestly, they could maybe get away with that. That Celtic there is very low on ammunition. If they just brought out a load of like Mi-24s with infantry in them, even if they even have them on their deck, they might be able to do something with that. Maybe bring up a force on the top side, like put a push somewhere completely different, because Gulf hasn't been reinforced for a while. They're currently still flooding units into Hotel and Echo on the blue side, so maybe Gulf
honestly,
would be the weakest one.
I think Gulf is the only place you can push at the moment, because they've proven like 3 times now that pushing into Echo is just not going to work. Every time they go through that valley, the Valley of Death, they just get destroyed. Every time they try and come up this side road from Delta, they just get destroyed. So it's kind of like you're just in a really bad situation if you're the red team, and you can't push into Hotel either, because you like that ship has sailed. They had a chance earlier, but you know, it's reinforced with so much stuff now that if the red team has to take Hotel, I will find a large hat and eat it. But I can say with confidence, I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, it's the only time. The only place they can fight now is in the top side. They're tunneling too much on Echo. I'm pretty sure they already found out by now that it's not going to happen. But they're going to persist, and 2 T-72 M2 Wilkes are going to try and kill off these M1IP Abrams. But we do have a couple of aircraft coming in, a Nighthawk and a Fighting Falcon, which are going to be dealing with a lot of this push, the motor shoots in there, on this top side and from the Valley of Death. So we'll see how this goes. We've got Sapri 85 now with the napalm launchers, see if they make a difference running through the smoke. But the Fighting Falcon and the Nighthawk absolutely wrecking one side of the push. Those 2 Seria 30s actually coming in and getting away, so that's something. But as soon as these units move closer to this tree line, they're just going to start to get annihilated by the fire support. And like, this isn't even all of the units either. That's the craziest thing. That GR7 did go down, completely missed its strike because it died. MiG-29 coming in with the thermobaric napalm, but didn't actually drop its bombs and was evac'd. So it's all a bit uncoordinated again, and it looks like these motor shoots and squads have just been picked off.
No, it really does, and you know, it's like I said earlier on, people get tunnel vision on what they imagine should be their side of the map. They think, oh look, Echo is what we should hold Echo. But you know, if they retake Echo, they're only going to have a +180. It's still not amazing. I think that it's just another case of people losing one side and then trying as hard as they can to retake it. Like, the blue team's never going to push through that valley, like you mentioned. It's incredibly hard to do that. And they just, I don't know, I think they've just wasted so much effort trying to retake Echo when they had so many better options open to them. Also, this T8UM is going to stay alive actually. The Jaguar doesn't fire its missiles.
Yeah, it came in from an awkward angle, so it couldn't dive on the T80UM, and it looks like that MiG isn't going to quite be able to kill it off. So Jaguar actually gets out alive because the Tor ran out of ammunition underneath it. Also, the Book M1s were reloading as well, so a series of fortunate events meant that Jaguar 1 got away with that awful strike.
Well, I mean, there's something to always remember about the T8UM, and this is a big problem for lots of tanks. If you have a tank like the T8UM with 3 top armor, it will die in one pass from a Harrier GR7. The 4 missiles on a Harrier, and also a Nighthawk I believe as well, will one-shot a T8UM. So that combined with the fact that the AA net is pretty mediocre now for the red team. You know, they've got these Bucks and these Tors, but a bomber, like a Harrier for example, if you bring it in from the bottom side, will drop its bombs and get away outside of range of those Bucks and Tor. And so, you know, I mean, I think that's just been a big problem with some of these pushes. You see, like the Lynx AH7s from Nandemini have done so much work this game, and yep, the 5-star surrender.
Yeah, it looks like Crna Buksna have decided to give this one up, and it looks like it's going to be a 2-0 victory in this best of 3, and for ANZ, and they're just proving why they should be the winner of the 3v3 Reddit tournament. And honestly, congratulations to them. They didn't have to prove it. They'd already won the tournament, and they just went and did it anyway. Faust, with a very low score, it didn't seem that he had much participation in the actual fight in the end.
DC, so...
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. Halfway through, we did see Faust DC, so yeah, he wasn't actually in the game for half of it, which meant that Cheer Up and Nandem and I had to pick up the slack. But with the defensive position that they had for the rest of the game, with the +1 conquest lead, it meant they could just sit there and win the game.
It really did. You know, I think in these 2 games, I have to say, Nandemini has done absolutely fantastically. It's such an impressive performance in the 2 games that we've casted for this finals. And you've got to hand it to him, because he played a motorized deck both times, and that can be risky. You know, you don't have any heavy armor, and he has just absolutely wrecked face both games.
Yeah, he's been put up against Anoka both games, and I honestly think Anoka has had...
Well, he was against Razman in the second one. In the bottom side. Anoka was mid and top.
Oh, okay, yeah. But Anoka started attacking into Echo as well. But, I mean, like, Anoka hasn't really been having the best of games. He's really just been overwhelmed. He especially was overwhelmed in the first game. In the second game, I didn't really feel his impact at all. And I think that's definitely something that obviously played a factor. I'm not sure if having Dirty D would have made a difference. Maybe the coordination would have been a bit better, which would have meant that they had a better chance, but at the same time, at the end, it just looked completely underwhelming. Firestarter, though, definitely pulling his weight, 2,762 kills to 1,620 losses. So he got good value with all of his units in both games.
He pulled his weight, but he didn't do anything with the weight. I think that's the problem with Firestarter, these 2 games. You know, he's had a fantastic KD both games. I mean, that's a 1,100 lead over his deaths. That's incredible. But at the same time, they lost both games, and I feel that even though obviously you can't blame him for his team losing, because Razman and Anoka both games I don't think did amazingly. But you know, with Firestarter, it's, you know, he did win his kind of area, if you will, and then he just didn't really do anything with it. I think like we've mentioned a few times, I think he's really been a victim of the, or should we say, suffering from the Wargame fog of war mentality.
Yeah, we should definitely think of a name for that, because it
happens so often, doesn't it?
It's totally
so
a thing.
Often.
Like, it's just we should just think of a name that we can just say it every time, because it does happen every time. But yeah, there's not really much to say. We kind of had a lot of time to just talk about whatever we want to do, because there was a very big stalemate towards the end of the game, and all they were doing on the red side was just throwing Moat Shootson to their death. And it was
Moat Shootson.
It was, yeah, it was horrible to watch, because there was nothing they could do. As much as they wanted to, they were just no, it just wasn't happening. So anyway, ANZ proving their power and taking this tournament convincingly. I do believe they win a monetary prize pool.
They do.
So do you know exactly how much that is, Val?
I can't remember whether it was 300 or 250. It might have been 200 actually. You know what? I will find out and I will put it in the... I'll write a comment on this video, or you can put it in the description. But they definitely win a monetary prize, and it's quite significant if I remember correctly. So hopefully they'll be happy with the war chest, because they really deserve it. I think they've shown that they're head and shoulders above pretty much every other team that's been in this tournament.
Yeah, we haven't seen anyone really come close to ANZ. I believe they did have a close best of 3 against Crna when Dirty D was still in there. I think it was a 2-1 best of 3. But that was as close as it got, really. Every other team, they convincingly took apart.
There was only one, although I believe that was Pan's team, CCD. Yeah, that's the only other 2-1 they had.
Yeah, still, like at the end of the day, all I can remember is that the games that they did win, they won convincingly every time.
Yeah,
and it just shows how good they are at the game, and honestly, they need to be praised, and I'm actually quite happy that they won the tournament and that they can add that to their sort of to their name, basically.
Their street cred.
Yeah,
the ANZ street cred.
So anyway, guys, that is going to be the last game from the 3v3 Reddit tournament. So that's the end of the coverage, and I hope you guys have enjoyed the competitive cast from me and Val. We've definitely enjoyed doing it. I think, yeah, you have, Val.
I've really enjoyed doing it. It's been really fun to do, and I came into this never really casting before, and I think I was probably pretty bad at the start, but hopefully I've improved as time's gone on, and it's just been a pleasure to cast and watch these teams play each other and just duke it out.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be doing more in the future, guys. Just a little hint, we may be running our own tournament, but that's still information to come, so you guys can look out for that. But in the meantime, guys, hopefully you've enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you hopefully in the next tournament. Goodbye.
Goodbye.